of this vlog series that walks through the progress week by week here at NorthLight Residence, but also the mentality of a developer and a young developer. And this week, as per usual, we're going to walk through the four main different departments that we focus on, which are marketing, sales, finance, and accounting. I put them into one, and construction. So to get started, right off the bat, let's start with marketing. So last week we were focusing on starting to deliver quite a few leads, finalizing a lot of materials, and beginning to think about retargeting campaigns and things like that. This week, what we were able to accomplish is we've received the final version of the 3D tour, which is really, really exciting because it's very high quality. The renders and everything done by this content team is just out of this world. I'm more than pleased with the quality work that they've done. So we've received that, and now we're starting to utilize that within our marketing as well. We finalized our physical and digital brochures. Our physical brochure it's very simplistic. It's small. It doesn't provide too much information, but it definitely provides information about the basic models for the apartments and some of the visuals of the project itself. But then our digital brochure is a much more in-depth brochure that walks through all the information of the project and a lot of different things that be important to prospective buyers. So we're able to finish all that content, which is great. Now we're starting to gather quite a bit of marketing content that we could use to reach out to new prospective customers, which I think is paying dividends already. So I'm excited about that. It's all high quality stuff. And from my perspective, especially in a developing country like Romania, putting the money into high quality materials and making sure you have high quality marketing materials delivers a great ROI, because the cost of doing online marketing in developing countries like Romania is extremely small. So the lead cost, the lead cost basically is a very low lead cost for the information that you receive. So putting that money into the high quality materials is the way that what I would recommend, and something that we really focused on with this project. So in terms of additional marketing material, next week we're going to be focusing on delivering the 1-minute video, which again will be used in our marketing strategy and our marketing advertisements as well. So I'm excited to get that next week, and once we have that, we'll have all interior renders, we'll have exterior renders, we'll have a 3D tour, and we'll have a 1-minute video that walks through the project. So I'm excited to have that, and by that point we'll have a lot of marketing material to work with, even more than we have now, obviously. So I'm excited for that. In terms of the actual campaigns themselves, online marketing campaigns, this week we started to do retargeting campaigns, which is good, and they're delivering good results so far. They're going to improve week by week, as I mentioned last week. Things continue to improve week by week, and you focus on optimizing the right advertisements. But they start off on a good note, so I'm happy with that. And the other good thing that happened this week, as I mentioned, is that we started to optimize the advertisements. So our lead cost basically dropped by half this week, which is really, really good. We still have a little bit more to go to lower, but we're in a comfortable position right now with the lead cost and the amount of leads that come in on a day-by-day basis. So we're getting good volume. Our lead cost is okay. We're going to make it great. That's the goal, is to get to great. But we've done a good job so far, and we're still very early into this whole campaign. We're still early into everything, so I think it's been a very successful past 3-4 weeks of marketing this project so far. So I'm pleased with that, and I'm excited to get the next piece of content next week, the 1-minute video. In terms of the sales department itself, so basically what I've been doing, and what I think a lot of developers that are, at least the ones that are involved with the sales and don't just sign with the external brokerage and give them all the power to do marketing and sales, but the ones that want to have some, have a little bit of a firm grasp on that. Part of what you have to do at the beginning is you have to hear a lot of feedback from the sales reps, and you need to distinguish what's good feedback, what's true, and what's not true, and then prioritize from there. And I think we've done a good job of that so far. I think I've done a good job of that so far. We created certain marketing materials like these brochures in a way that the reps wanted, so that they could be more successful in their position. So we provided all that. We've provided them a lot of sales and marketing materials. So I think they're in a really good position from the materials standpoint. So I'm really happy with that, because now it's time to continue to deliver and to continue to bring in sales. So I think that myself and our marketing team have put them in a good position to be successful in their role as sales reps. We're sending out a lot more offers. Last week I mentioned we reached double digits after the first week of doing online marketing. We're well into double digits now. We've sent out about 40 or 45 offers, which is good for about 2 weeks. So I'm pleased with that so far. We need to continue on that track and just continue with the momentum we have now, because we're moving in the direction that sales are going to really pick up in the next few weeks, and we're going to get into those optimal months in the next probably 2 months is what I would guess. So I think we're on a good trajectory for sales right now, and we're doing a good job from that standpoint. And the biggest thing from a developer standpoint that you need to think about, and this is true across many different management sales positions across all industries really, the way I like to view it is you need to just do everything you can to make their job easier, as long as it's a valid thing that they need. But the goal is to reduce the amount of hurdles that they have to be successful in their role, because the more successful they are at being a rep and in their sales, the more successful you are as a developer in delivering the ROI and the finances and the profit on the project. So that's the way I view it. I definitely take a lot of input in. I try to ask questions. I try to ask what's going on as much as possible, and then take that information and try to make their lives easier. That's the biggest thing I do from the sales side. So the last thing from the sales side, which is good, is we received a lot of positive feedback about the pricing, because we've done an analysis of the area to understand what the sales volume is, what the average price is, and things like that. And fortunately for us, we're in a good position where we can provide competitive pricing for the quality and for the size of units that we have, alongside the fact that we're on the lake itself and you have that access there. So I think that side of things, the pricing side, and getting that feedback back has been really, really good and really positive, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on from the sales side. In terms of the finance and accounting side, this is going to be really short, but basically the system is continuing to work well. I'm able to understand exactly where we are week by week, budget line by budget line, and evaluate how we're performing so far from a cost perspective. So the system's working well. I'm proud of it, and I'm happy with it. So I'm happy with everything going there. This past week was starting to get a little more critical with some of the decisions I had to make surrounding payments and prioritization of payments. There are certain things that bring immediate ROI to the project that I want to focus on first. So I made those decisions about what would bring those things. And for me, a lot of those things surround like the green space, the pool, the obviously finishing the apartments, and some of the facades. Those were the biggest things that are the biggest priority for me. And for the green space itself, focusing on the back of the project, which is basically the land closest to the lake, and where the pool is, because that part of the green space affects everyone that lives here. So prioritizing that and making sure that that's moving well was a big focus for me this past week with our finance and accounting department. So that's basically it from there. It's not going to be too many major updates in terms of changes. Hopefully, I'm praying that it won't be too many major changes in terms of the system. Because if I have to make major changes, it's basically saying that the system's not working. So right now the system's working well. It's doing what it needs to do. I have an understanding of the costs and our versus our relative budget versus the projected profit. I'm doing a good job of analyzing our cash flow, and we're doing a really good job from a cost cash flow right now. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what's going on there. Now, the most exciting part, and usually for me, marketing is the most exciting part because that's more of my expertise is in sales and marketing. But this week, construction is definitely the most exciting part. And honestly, it's probably the most exciting part right now in the project in general, just seeing what we're building every day. So basically what's going on right now is, like I talked about with the finance and accounting, we're prioritizing the things that are bringing the greatest ROI immediately. So we're really delivering on the pool. The pool's really progressing quickly, and I think we're on track to deliver the pool by the end of the month. At least that's what our supplier mentioned literally today as well. So I think we're on track for that, and it's really nice to see how that's progressing, how it's going to look. I think it's going to be a spectacular pool and amenity for the residents that live here. So I'm excited about that side of things. And you can see more of that on a daily basis if you want to on our Instagram and Facebook stories. There's always a Facebook or Instagram story every day about the pool because it's progressing really quickly, and it's really cool to see from a day by day and a week by week progress on that. So that's that. In terms of the last thing about the pool as well, I made the decision about the surrounding area of the pool. This was a decision that also ties in with finance and accounting as well. It was a relatively important decision. Basically, I made the decision to go over budget for this amenity because it is kind of a focal point of the project outside of the lake itself. So we're going over budget with what we're going to deliver, but I think that putting that money into that part of the project will deliver a greater ROI and will be appreciated by the residents. And that should be reflected in our sales. That should be reflected in our profitability long run at the end of the project. So yeah, I think that going over budget on a line item right early on in the project is not something I'm super comfortable with, but I think it's the right decision because it will bring a huge impact to the project and to what's delivered for the residents. So we wanted to do that, and I'm happy that I made that decision. So the next thing is we started the window repairs, which is good. So those are started, and they'll be finished in the next few weeks, which is positive. It'd be nice to have all good windows everywhere, not just some good ones here, some good ones there, some bad ones there, some bad ones there. So I'm excited about that, and that should be delivered very, very quickly. For the apartment finishing, so I really like the vendor we're working with. I like the supplier. I think that they have been quite trustworthy in their work so far. We haven't had any incidents of theft at this point. We haven't had any problems um, in terms of quality. The quality is very, very good. I'm actually ecstatic about the quality of what's being delivered, so that's really awesome. What the problem that we have right now is that they are moving a little bit slower than expected. So the first block, we're supposed to have everything finished in the interior except for the parquet, the interior doors, and some of the painting in the common space. That's the only things that we're not supposed to be finished at this point. Everything else is supposed to be finished. Sorry, also the sanitary, because you do that last as well. So those were the things that were supposed to be still left to be done. Everything else was supposed to be delivered. Now they got about 95% of the way, but they didn't make it in time. So we're going to be about 2 days over time past our deadline, which it isn't that isn't something that's going to crush like the overall deadlines or anything like that. And delivery of the project, there's going to be places where we make that time back up, but being early on, I definitely want to emphasize the need to be on target with the timing, especially. So the fact that we miss it by 2 days is frustrating. I expressed that to the supplier. I let them know I'm extremely proud and happy with the quality of the work, but the timing needs to be improved. So we talked about a strategy for the other blocks to make sure that we can get some of that time back and also be on track with all the other blocks. So yeah, things are going well. Things are definitely going well there. Like day one to where we are now, are looking really good in there. But I'm definitely hammering home the timing quite a bit more. Uh, Even more, sorry. I was the whole time, but even more than I was before. So yeah, that's something that I'm focused. The really positive thing too from this week, which I'm happy about, is the hydro installation for the exterior of the buildings is ahead of the schedule. So we were able to get 3 out of 5 buildings done already, which is fantastic. We had 3 weeks budgeted for this, and we're going to get it done in 2. So that's really good. Next week we'll finish the other 2 blocks, and the hydro installation will be done, which is amazing, which is really positive. The facade repairs, so fixing up the facades and just making them look really beautiful, that's progressing well. We're doing a good job there, and I'm hoping to have that finished within the next 2 weeks maximum. So that'll be exciting to get that done. In terms of next week, the big focuses we have are the roof and terrace repairs. So the roof and terrace, there's not major work that needs to be done there, and that's part of the reason why it's been something that's we're behind the 8 ball on and behind our deadline on, is because it's hard to find a vendor that wants to do just the small repairs rather than fix a whole roof. So or replace a whole roof, because there's a lot of work right now that's going on in Romania and in Bucharest specifically. And these guys aren't short of work, so they'd rather get the bigger jobs than something that's going to be, probably take a week or 2. So we found a vendor, and we're working with them, and we're going to start doing that next week, finally. So I'm excited about that. Well, next week that we have to do is we have to buy the boilers. So that was part of the prioritization of payments. I decided to prioritize some other payments before this because it won't affect the overall timeline and delivery of the project. So next week we're going to buy the boilers and start to get those installed, which is really good. The thing that's really interesting here in Romania is that for certain projects you have to have a bomb shelter. So we're starting next week on the bomb shelter. The amazing thing that I'm really happy about is we have a certain budget for this bomb shelter, and our project manager found a supplier that's going to be able to provide this bomb shelter, which is just a nuisance. No value to the customer, really. Like in terms of reality, basically no ROI on that investment. Just something that you need to have based off the zoning. But he found a supplier that will be able to provide this for about 20% of the initial budget, which is huge, because all that money will either go back into the profit or can be reinvested into some of the other budget line items, which I'm really happy about. And we start that next week, so it'll be good to start that and get that done quickly. And then the last thing as well is that next week we're going to determine the supplier for all the sidewalks in the green space on the project. Getting that started is very important at this point. It's probably, outside of delivering the pool, it's probably my second, well, the apartment finishing for sure. It's very important. So it's just very, very important. So I'm excited to get that finalized and determined next week and to start the work next week. So yeah, those are kind of the things that we're focusing on for next week. Overall though, that's all I got for this week. I hope that you took a little bit away from each week so far. You know, there's a lot of things that have been going on, a lot of things that I've been talking about. And if you have any questions, if you want to reach out in any way, feel free to reach out at any time. Have a great day.